UFC 318 was this weekend, my boys, and honestly, it was a pretty solid card. I see you, Uncle Dana, but at the end of the day, the prelims did carry a bit hard. You could argue that the main card was a little disappointing, but regardless, we did get some really good finishes. We did get some really exciting scraps. We got a couple of the Fight of the Year contenders, so I'm going to be booking today the fights that I believe should be made next after UFC 318, man. Mostly going to be covering guys from the main card, but a few from the prelims as well. So just starting off with the first one we got. What are we doing with the winner of the main event, and still the BMF champion? It's weird to say and still, even though they're fighting for the BMF belt, but it is what it is. In the words of Holloway, it is what it is, brother. I think you should give this guy Charles Oliveira in a rematch. Now, it's a bit weird to say a rematch. There's a bit of an asterisk next to it because when these guys originally did fight a fucking decade ago, it ended via a very weird stoppage. Charles Oliveira's esophagus got fucked up. He got carried out in a stretcher. It wasn't really an actual fight. So yes, there's a 2 next to these guys when they are going to be fighting again, but I just think there's so many reasons in the fucking world to be able to make this fight once again, man. Like, timeline-wise, the timing for both these guys makes perfect sense. Oliveira, I know he's just coming off a rough knockout loss, but it is a month ago. It's within the past month. That's a good turnaround time for Holloway, who, as well, he really did take a bit of damage against Poirier. He got knocked down, even though he's got a chin of steel. He took over 100 fucking shots, and I feel like he's going to need a bit of time to recover. So you could run these two around like that December timeline. This would be a fantastic main or co-main event. Like, I would prefer to see it as a co-main. Like, I don't really want to see the BMF title be the main event all the time, and I feel like that the fact that Holloway is such a high-level name, the fact that Oliveira is such a high-level name, these guys have history, and they're such big fucking names for the sport, such big names for the division, they're definitely worthy of a co-main spot. So it's not on them that I don't want it as like a main event. It's just more so on the fact that it's the BMF strap. Like, I'd prefer like an actual title kind of on the line. With all due respect, you know what I'm saying? But again, I feel like this would be a fantastic scrap, man. Like, I feel like there's a lot of problems that Oliveira can present to Holloway on the ground. I feel like there's a lot of problems that Holloway can present to Oliveira on the feet. Like, Oliveira is going to have much more high output. He's going to have the power advantage, especially now that he's properly bulked at lightweight. Like, knocking out Justin Gaethje and then knocking down Dustin Poirier and then pointing to the ground in the last 10 seconds and trying to have Poirier have all the smoke, and then he just fucking clinches up because he couldn't hang with the best shots of Max. It was crazy to see because it's nothing against Poirier. Poirier is an absolute fucking dog in the cage. He's one of the hardest motherfuckers alive, but at the end of the day, it goes to show how hard Holloway has been hitting and how he's still such an accurate striker with so much output at lightweight, but the fact that he hits even harder now, like when Max was at featherweight, there was always that thing where it's like, oh, he has such high output. He's like a little Joshua Van up in here. He's maximum Van, but he's lacking that specific power. Like, sure, he would get a TKO here and there, but it was more so from just overwhelming guys in there, just overloading on them on the feet, you know what I mean? And his solid takedown defense is a very nice thing to have in his back pocket, because usually when Holloway fights grapplers, man, like, they can't do dick to him. Like, sure, Topuria and other guys like that, they can get him down a couple of times, but at the end of the day, I feel like Oliveira is such an elite level grappler to where even though Holloway is bulked up now for lightweight, he's properly ready for this, and he's beating up Gaethje and Poirier. Like, Oliveira, people forget, man, this guy beat Poirier as well, man, and I know he's coming off a rough loss. I know he's only won like 2 in his last 5, but he's fighting the elite of the fucking elite for competition. The number 1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan, the go to the fucking sport. He's trying to at least fucking become Islam Makhachev. So Charles Oliveira, I think this is a winnable fight for him. I feel like he's going to really try and want to get this fight into the clinch, really take Holloway down, try and hold his own on the feet, because even though Holloway's hitting a lot harder at lightweight, I don't think it's to the level of power as a guy like fucking Ilia Topuria. So I think that Charles Oliveira is going to be a lot more willing to get in the pocket. I would even say that, like, Oliveira might have been more worried specifically at getting finished against Chandler, because Chandler has that, he's lacking the chromies, homie. There's something that's not arranged right in his fucking head. The dude is genuinely mentally ill. But the thing is, like, he comes with a lot of explosivity and low fight IQ in the cage, but he still does hit solidly hard. So I feel like Charles Oliveira could have been worried he might have get finished there, but he was still able, to beat the fuck out of Chandler. So he'll be willing to stand and bang. It is the BMF title on the line, but Oliveira's bread and butter is going to be to take this fight to the ground. And even though Holloway does have good takedown defense, I think Oliveira could do it. So the timing makes sense for both these guys. They do have a bit of history, but also not really. And at this stage in the fucking game, I feel like we have to have these guys fight at least once, man. Like, I'm not counting the first fight, really, man. So to have a guy like Holloway, who's been around the UFC for so long, and he's the BMF champ, and to have Charles Oliveira been around the UFC for so long, former champ, like, how have these guys not had a full-fledged scrap yet? So I feel like that this is the time to do it. Holloway's 33. Charles Oliveira is 35. They both just fought within the same month period. They could fight in December for a co-main event spot. I love the fight. It's going to be very high-paced. It's going to be a fucking scrap. Both guys have advantages over over the other, let's fucking book it, man. Moving on up next to, what are you gonna do with Paulo motherfucking Costa, the winner of the co-main event, man? He's back. We literally got Paulo Costa winning a fight before GTA 6. It's crazy as fuck to say, but man, him and Alexander Volkanovski and all these other guys, like, these unks are fucking back this year. Kamaru Usman as well. Like, Jesus Christ. I think you should give Paulo Costa what he asked for. I think you should give him Khamzat Chimaev next. Now, there's a bit of an asterisk next to that. Like, if Khamzat Chimaev is going to sit out for a year after he gets beat the fuck up by DDP, that's my early fucking pick. I've been saying this. I think Dricus du Plessis is going to beat up Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's going to win that fight. So that leaves Khamzat Chimaev free. I technically could see if Chimaev wants to make a relatively quick turnaround and wants to fight more than fucking once a year, I would be down to see this fight. When this fight initially got booked in 2022, I wasn't crazy about it. I think a lot of us were more excited that Usman got stepped in as the replacement, even though it was short notice. But at the time, like 2022, we weren't really just feeling the fight as much. It didn't just make as much fucking sense. But it might have been 2023. But here we are now, and Costa finally is in the win column. So at the end of the day, it's all these guys that have been able to beat him, like the Robert Whitakers and the Israel Adesanyas and the Sean Stricklands. Like, it finally goes to show that, like, the win over Costa was kind of like, oh, does it really even count as a good win? It fucking does now, man. Like, Roman Kopylov is a good, slick, quick as fuck kickboxer who hits solidly hard, and Paulo Costa was able to beat him up on the feet. He landed double the amount of significant strikes as him, even knocked Kopylov down a little bit at this point in the fight. So for Costa, man, he's looking fucking good. I understand he's getting a bit up there in age now, but for Khamzat Chimaev, again, if he's down to run this fight, and Khamzat Chimaev's not going to fight until the next fucking Abu Dhabi card or some shit like that, I'd be down to see this scrap. I know that Costa's going to be ranked around like 10 to 13. I know that Chimaev's going to be ranked in the top fucking 3, especially if DeRitter loses this weekend, but it is what it is, man. I'd be down to see this fight. Costa's back in the win column. These guys have genuine fucking beef. Someone about Chimaev sliding the DMs of Paulo Costa. It's the "we have your wife is in my DMs, mate" at fucking home. So it is what it is, man. I'd be down to see the scrap. I like when a fighter is calling out for a certain guy in the mic and they actually get that fight. Like, we just saw it recently with like Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal. And I also think the fact that we need a bit more of grudge matches right now in the UFC, a bit of guys with genuine fucking beef. I like this fight. I feel like Costa, you could argue he might be able to have the striking advantage here, but Chimaev is good as fuck on the feet as well. I feel like he'd be able to hang with Costa. And Costa, man, he's back to setting a high pace. He's actually trying to look for a finish once again. And I feel like the guy, he's hitting solidly hard to where maybe he could beat Chimaev, but Chimaev, I feel like he's going to be a massive favorite. But regardless of just him being a minus 600, I'd still be really down to see this scrap. Like, I feel like it'd be fun in the build-up. And if Chimaev wants to be inactive, I say give Paulo Costa a Jared Cannonier. If Jared Cannonier wins or loses his next fight against MVP, I feel like fighting Paulo Costa would be a great fucking scrap. Cannonier is constant entertainment, is primarily a striker who knows how to stand and bang. I think you should give Paulo Costa Khamzat Chimaev, but if Chimaev wants to be inactive, I think you should do Jared Cannonier. So moving on up next to, what are you gonna do with D-Rod, this literal fucking parlay killer, bro? D-Rod just literally killed all of our parlays like Thanos killed half the fucking universe. I'm gonna put D-Rod against Randy Brown. The fact that D-Rod is ranked in the big 2025 is fucking insanity, my boys. Alright, no offense at all to D-Rod himself. I don't know the motherfucker, but Jesus, like, the fact that D-Rod is ranked right now, and the fact that he was able to get this win over Kevin Holland, it's insane. It's insane because I don't rate D-Rod highly at all, and it's no offense to the guy. He is a solid striker. He does hit solidly hard. I was saying that in the build-up, but I thought Holland was going to have a massive advantage on the ground. I thought he was going to have the striking advantage in general. I thought Holland hit harder. I liked the momentum on his side. I thought he was longer, rangier, sharper, quicker. Like, at the end of the day, D-Rod was able to knock him down multiple times in the fucking fight, and he was able to take 2 rounds off of him. Now, granted, Holland did almost take back the 3rd round, but again, D-Rod just, I don't know how he's ranked. I just, the fact that he is ranked is fucking crazy. I think that, you know, you could have him face somebody up in the rankings. You could move him up to like a top 10 guy, or even somebody that's just ranked in general. You could give that to D-Rod. Maybe he has earned it, but in my opinion, man, he's on a 3-fight win streak, which is solid, but he's hanging out at the bottom of the rankings, and I feel like for a division like this that is so fucking competitive, and all these guys are chomping at the fucking bit to get an opportunity in the rankings, the fact that D-Rod is there, I feel like a lot of guys are going to want that opportunity. So I don't think that D-Rod should fight up. I feel like there's so many prospects outside of the rankings right now waiting for their shot. So let's do D-Rod versus Randy Brown, man. Randy Brown is one of the most under the radar fucking prospects we have pound for pound in the UFC right now. The guy is great on the feet. He's a great striker, and I feel like that he'd be able to hang with D-Rod a bit better than fucking Kevin Holland did. Sorry for fucking hesitating there, but it's crazy to say. But at the end of the day, I feel like this would be a good scrap. It's going to be a striker versus a striker. Randy Brown has earned his way into the rankings, and D-Rod, you don't even know how the fuck he got there, so it makes sense. And if D-Rod really really does win against a guy that is as good as Randy Brown, I feel like then, okay, let's move him up. Let's give him like a Gilbert Burns. Let's give him a Joaquin Buckley or a Jeff Neal. Like, let's see that. But for right now, with D-Rod just being at where he is in this state of his career, and I don't think he really should be ranked, it is what it fucking is. I think that Randy Brown deserves the opportunity. He's on a great win streak, and he's had a great run mostly in the UFC, and I feel like he's really been developing a lot to where let's give him this shot to crack it. I feel like at this point, I don't know who the fuck would win. I'd lean towards Randy Brown, but D-Rod apparently is surprising fucking everybody and the mothers, so I think this is the fight to make next, man. Moving on to next to the loser of the fight I just fucking mentioned, Kevin Holland. You son of a bitch, dude. I put you as one of my locks, and you choked on me, son. Kevin Holland, what are we going to do with the man? I think you should give him... Now, I know this one's weird, okay? I know this one might be a bit weird at first, but hear me the fuck out. I think you should give him Mike Malott. Now, specifically for the Vancouver card in October, because for multiple reasons here, okay? When you look at Kevin Holland, I don't know if he's still going to be ranked, okay? After the time that the rankings go up on Tuesday, I don't know if he's still going to be in the top 15. He might be booted out. So if he is, I feel like that's even more of a reason to book this fight, because I don't necessarily think that Mike Malott deserves an opportunity yet to be in the rankings. I think he needs one fucking more. He's only had one loss in the UFC, and the rest has come from pretty much all finishes. So the guy is good. He is a good fighter, but at the end of the day, he's a fucking Canadian. So you don't know how far he's actually going to go, with all due respect. But still, he's on a 2-fight win streak right now, recovering from getting Neil fucking Magnied. So I feel like that even though he does need one more to technically earn an opportunity in the rankings, in my opinion, I still feel like that it's going to make sense because he's going to fight at the Vancouver card anyways. It makes sense for the timeline. Like, it's going to be in October. Malott just fought in May. Kevin Holland is trying to fight 6 times this year. I think that he was hoping he'd be 5-1, but now he's already 2-2. And Mike Malott, it's a winnable fight for him for sure. I think that Holland can get the win, but I could also see Mike Malott getting the win as well. It's a very unpredictable fight. I feel like the betting odds would be very close. Mike Malott, he's solid on the ground. He's solid on the feet. He hits solidly hard, but there's nothing really crazy overall in his skill set. I think that's why he got Neil Magnied. I think that's why he's very under the radar. I think that's why, even though he's a very good Canadian prospect, in the grand scheme of things for the welterweight division, I don't think he's all that. So I feel like it could be a winnable fight for both guys here. And another thing as well, like I was talking about, Holland wants to fight 6 times this year. He fought once in January, once in March, and that was a similar situation to this. He fought Gunnar Nelson in a UK card. That's pretty much the fucking version of this. So then he fought in June against fucking Vicente Luque. Then he fought in July against Daniel Rodriguez. So he's probably going to want to fight. I mean, he just had a fucking war against D-Rod. So I feel like he might want to take a couple of months off relatively here. So let's get him back in October. 2 months of break. For everybody else, that's a very fucking short amount of time. But for Kevin Holland, it's a piss break. So Kevin Holland comes back in October, and if he gets a win or doesn't get beat the fuck up and wants to get 6 fights in 1 year, there's always an opportunity in December in Vegas for him. So I think you should do Holland versus Malott. The timing makes sense. And even though I'm not crazy about Mike Malott, I do like this matchup, and I feel like that it would be a fucking banger. It's a hard one to call, and it makes sense for Vancouver. So moving on up next to ... fucking Patricio Pitbull, bro. This guy's boring as shit. Can I just break the fucking fourth wall here? Like, I understand all the hardcores are gonna push up their glasses. Oh, Patricio Pitbull, man. People forget this guy got to the UFC way too late. We're missing out prime years. He might not be that entertaining, but you're missing out on prime Pitbull. I don't give a fuck, man. Like, it's just the first fight against Yair Rodriguez. It had a couple of moments, but it was relatively a stinker. The fight against Dan Ige, I mean, the fact that Pitbull literally had Ige, he was beating him the fuck up and was trying to finish him and had him against the fence and was beating him up with combinations, and the crowd could give 2 shits, bro. The crowd could give a fuck. They weren't making any goddamn noise because Pitbull, when this guy's at a press conference, nobody cares. When this guy's in the cage, nobody cares. And I just think, I understand he's getting older. I understand he's getting slower. I understand that his finishing ability is falling off. So I know we're not seeing the best version of Pitbull, man. I understand that. And I still think that the guy is a relatively good fighter. I think that he definitely deserves to be in the UFC regardless. I'm glad that we're seeing it. But it's been a lackluster run so far. Like, both of the fights have been a bit of duds, and there were a couple moments, but they've been duds. And now Pitbull's ranked in the top 12, he probably is going to be, and it's just like, I don't know what the fuck to do with him. I'm not invested genuinely at all in the career of Pitbull. Now, I'm sorry, because I know a lot of people are, but in my opinion, like, there's just nothing to be desired with this guy here, really, man. I feel like we missed his best years. In my opinion, what I should give him next, I think you should give him Josh Emmett. It's going to be relatively around the same spot in the rankings. There are only 2 or 3 spots different, and for Josh Emmett, man, I don't fucking know what to give this guy. Like, he's an unk that's getting up there in age. He's been putting a lot of people over lately. But they've relatively been young, hungry up-and-comers, like a guy like Lerone Murphy, like a guy like Ilia Topuria, mate. So for Pitbull, who I don't even know if he's older or younger than Josh Emmett, let's make that a fucking drinking game. But either way, these guys are the unks of the division right now. Let's just have them fight each other. I feel like not too many people are invested in Emmett right now, nor Pitbull. I do feel like it'd be an alright scrap. Like, make this a 3-rounder for like a feature prelim of a pay-per-view or something like that. It'd be an alright fight, but with Emmett kind of being hit or miss sometimes, and with Pitbull being 2 misses in the UFC, I'm happy for the guy that he's in the win column. Like, he's had a long journey to get to the UFC. I am fucking happy for the guy, but I'm just not invested here, man. In this fight, I just, even though I'm making it, even though I'm the fucking matchmaker here, and even though I think it makes sense, it'd be an alright scrap, my heart's just not in it, because it's Josh fucking Emmett at the tail end of his career, and he's been pretty fucking inactive relatively over the past couple years. And then Pitbull, man, I've been already rambling enough about it, so I think this is the fight to make next. You could generate some excitement from it. You could put it on a feature prelim of a fucking pay-per-view, or maybe a stacked fight night, something like that, man. But Pitbull's gonna try and mix in some takedowns. Emmett's relatively got good takedown defense, so we're gonna see how it goes. I feel like Emmett's gonna have the striking advantage. Pitbull's gonna have the grappling advantage. Unk versus Unk. Let's fucking see it, man. So moving on to next to Michael Johnson. Jesus Christ, the biggest underdog of the card, getting a fucking win here. You want to talk about Paulo Costa getting a win before GTA 6? Michael Johnson is on a goddamn 3-fight win streak, my boys, before GTA 6, and I think you should give this guy Nazim Sadikov. Now, this might not make too much sense at first, but I feel like it fucking does, man. I understand that Sadikov, he didn't fight all of 2024, but he's already fought twice this year, back-to-back finishes, and impressive as fuck fashion. He had one of the best fights most people have ever fucking seen against Nicholas Mata earlier, I think it was like early June, some shit like that. So the guy is fighting around a similar timeline as Michael Johnson, and in general, the guy has 5 wins in the UFC, 0 losses, and 1 draw, so he's on the fucking rise. He's young, he's exciting as fuck, he's a powerful striker, he's a finisher in general, on the feet and on the ground. He knows how to mix it up. People forget, man, this guy got a rear naked choke over Terrence McKinney. So Nazim Sadikov, there are a bit of holes in his game. He is a bit sloppy at times. He is hittable, but I feel like the guy is really trying to come into his own. He's exciting as fuck to watch. He's entertainment, and he's primarily a striker. And I feel like if you put that against Michael Johnson, who, it's a good win. It's a good win if you're able to beat Michael Johnson at this stage in the game. He just beat Daniel Selhuber, who's a young, hungry prospect, dangerous kickboxer on the fucking rise. And Michael Johnson just beat him the fuck up and ultimately won that fight. Selhuber really didn't have any moments. So for Michael Johnson, this is a winnable fight. I swear to fucking God. Like, I really do think that Michael Johnson can beat Nazim Sadikov, but Sadikov's going to be a big favorite, as he should be, but I feel like this will be a really exciting fight. Michael Johnson on the 3-fight win streak in the big old 2025. Nazim Sadikov practically undefeated in the UFC, a young, hungry prospect who really put himself on the map at Azerbaijan, man. Everybody was talking about this dude. It was a really lackluster card, and that fight against Mota really stood out. So Michael Johnson versus Sadikov, I feel like it's going to be a banger between 2 guys who are primarily strikers, and they do know how to mix it up here and there, but Johnson's going to be prepared to stand and bang and look for the bonus and the finish, and so was Sadikov, man. So it makes sense. I hate to give Michael Johnson back-to-back just young, hungry guys on the rise, but I was maybe going to give him like a Renato Moicano, like somebody in the rankings, but considering Michael Johnson is just getting so up there in age, and I don't think it's realistic they're going to give him an opportunity in the rankings next, I think that it's pretty fair to say that, all right, one more, and then maybe if Michael Johnson's able to win, maybe then they give the 40-year-old the fucking shot in the rankings. He would deserve it at that goddamn point. That's a crazy win streak. He's already on a solid one right now, and especially beating a guy like Sadikov. So I love this fight. I feel like it'd be very high-paced. It'd be a banger on the feet. Both guys are going to come very heavy with the pressure forward, and in general, it's going to be a banger. Unk versus Nephew. Both these guys fought around a similar time. I think you should book it for later this year. Moving on up next to Vinicius Oliveira. What are we going to give this guy next, man? Now, Vinny Olives, man. We are here for the Oliveira fucking title run. Now, I like this guy a lot. He's a great dynamic striker with a lot of power. He's exciting. But I'm not going to lie. He is coming off a bit of a lackluster win. Like, the fight against Phillips wasn't anything crazy. It was an alright scrap. But in general, not too many moments that really stood out for Oliveira. He ultimately did win the fight. He's going to move up in the rankings now. But in general, like, I feel like for the amount of hype that this guy was generating a bit, I feel like it was a bit of a letdown. But he's still got to win. And Phillips is a good fighter. Phillips is durable as fuck. He's a good fucking well-rounded fighter. So it makes sense, man. But Vinicius Oliveira, what are we going to give him next? I think you should give him Rob Font. Rob Font is on a 2-fight win streak right now. And I could totally, even though the size discrepancy is going to be huge, you could argue there's a big power difference maybe, or a big experience difference for either side. Whatever the fuck, man. I really do feel like Robbie fucking Font. This guy's on a 2-fight win streak. He's well-rounded. He's training with Sahabi now. The takedown defense has been developing a bit. The striking is always there. And the guy really only loses to the very upper echelon of the division. He'll lose to the Chito Veras, the Davison Figueiredos, the Corey Sandhagens, but if you're not those guys, if you're not really that top 5 or 10 level worthy fighter, Rob Font is beating everybody else in the fucking rankings or outside of it in their goddamn mother. So I feel like Rob Font, I feel like this would be a banger of a fight. Vinicius Oliveira is going to tower the fuck over him like some Doflamingo over Luffy shit, but it is what it is. I feel like it's going to be a striker versus a striker here. Maybe even Robbie Font wants to mix it up and take the fight to the ground, but I understand not being crazy about giving Oliveira like this big opportunity in the top 10. Maybe you could have him fight someone 11 through 15 again, but I feel like Oliveira, he's 23-3, I believe, overall. Like, the guy has so much experience. He's relatively young as well. Like, he's generating a bit of momentum here. They put him as the feature prelim for a reason, so I feel like there's a lot of potential for this guy. I could see him totally beating the fuck out of Rob Font in an insane striking battle here, or I could see Rob Font showing a bit of UFC level experience difference and beating up Vinicius Oliveira and winning a 29-28. I don't fucking know, man. Both these guys are solidly durable. They hit solidly fucking hard. I feel like this would be a great scrap. And again, if you want to give Oliveira a test 11 through 15 again, that's totally fair. But in my opinion, I feel like he's kind of been earning his way to get a Rob Font who's ranked between 8 and 10. I feel like that's fucking fair, and I love this fight, man. Moving on up next to what are we going to do with Brendan Allen, who was able to beat Marvin Vettori in this fight. Got fight of the night bonus. I don't really understand how. I thought that Holland versus D-Raw was a more entertaining fight. I thought that the main event for the BMF strap was a more entertaining fight. Don't get me wrong, this was a solid scrap to watch. It was pretty fucking good, but fight of the night bonus and a card like this, I don't know, man. It is what it is. Hey, it is what it is, but I think you should give Brendan Allen Roman Dolidze next. Now, I understand that's not very crazy exciting, so if you want somebody with a little more entertainment value to it, I think you can give him Jared Cannonier. I know that I said earlier in the video, if Chimaev's going to be inactive, I think you should give Paulo Costa as Jared Cannonier, but in general, it's a bit of a variable here. Whatever the fuck's going to happen timeline-wise, or whatever the fuck's going to happen if Dolidze loses against Fluffy, or Cannonier beats or loses to fucking MVP, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but for Brendan Allen, he did suffer 2 losses in a row, and they are the good competition. The now number 1 contender, Amaimov, and Fluffy Hernandez on the rise, so Brendan Allen, he was on a good win streak before that. I don't just want to fucking take that away from the guy. And again, it's a solid win over Marvin Vettori, but I don't rate Marvin Vettori that fucking crazy, man. So if you want to keep that into account, and you as well, you don't really rate Vettori that highly, and you're like, okay, Brendan Allen is only 1-2 in his last 3, so all right, let's give him the Roman Dolidze test. Like, it's not that exciting of an opponent. It is what it is. He's just barely ahead of him in the rankings, so it's a way for Allen to move up and Dolidze to move down, but there's still something out of it. You know what I mean? And then for Jared Cannonier, you could book that fight if you want someone a little bit more with name value, someone a little bit more exciting for the fans. It's something for Jared Cannonier to get a fucking win, maybe. Jared Cannonier's going to have the clear striking advantage, and Brendan Allen's going to have the grappling advantage, but I feel like Cannonier's got good enough ground and pound and takedown defense, is good enough in the clinch to where I could see him shutting down Brendan Allen. But also for Brendan Allen, he's the younger, hungrier fighter who has the ground advantage. I could see him fucking taking down Cannonier and maybe getting a decision, but I don't fucking know, man. There's multiple kind of options you can go here with Brendan Allen. If you want to kind of reward him more for the fight against Vettori and whatever the fucking kind of move him up the rankings a bit quicker, then give him Jared Cannonier. But if you kind of want just a random middleweight in the middle of the fucking ocean scrap, then you could do Brendan Allen versus Roman Dolidze. So I think Brendan Allen was a pretty good performance from him. Good to see him back in the win column. I think you should give him Roman Dolidze or Jared Cannonier here next, man. And that's going to be it for the Yab session, boys. I appreciate y'all so much for making this far in the video, man. Thank you so very fucking much for giving me your time and attention. It means the world to me, man. So leave your opinions in the comments below. Which fights do you think I made best? Which fights do you think I made the worst? Which matchups would you make next for all these guys after UFC 318, man? So let me know in the comments below. I'd absolutely love to hear it. So appreciate y'all a lot, man. All the smoke here. Hope you guys have a good one, boys. Hope you enjoyed watching the card, and I will see you all next time.